Welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Pro League Split 1 Day number 2. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Guy Blaze, and finally the moment is upon us, one that you have been waiting for quite some time. It's going to be RushieZ versus Fire and Ice. Blaze, how you feeling?
Oh, man, I'm feeling great. We're here at our last match of the day, and we got two fantastic teams left here. RushieZ looking to get their first win of the Pro League. Fire and Ice looking to go 2-0. Up until this point, both teams have had little struggles here and there, but, neither one of them want to take an L in the last series of week number 1 in the Pro League.
Absolutely. Who wants to take an L, Blaze? You've been a competitor in the past. No one wants that, man.
But it's how you take it that matters.
Hey, check this out. There's some players to watch, though, and I want to bring that up, right? Because we have to hone in on a storyline, and we will, in fact, develop that storyline coming through. Now, when you take a look at Fire and Ice, I think you have to look at Xploidz. Okay, Xploidz is one of those main players that has the opportunity to kind of change the pace of the game. I've always enjoyed watching him. He's got a big KDA. I mean, 1.92. He averages 12 kills, 241 kills total. But those assists are also impressive, too. So I think all around, Xploidz could be a great utility player, but also get into the faces of RushieZ, which is something FNI might need to do.
Any player who, has double-digit, kills and assists for their averages and also close to 2.0, every single spawn in which they're coming up, they are contributing to one of these kills, more than one of these kills on the map, and that's super important. Hell, if you can get all of your players on your team, at least at minimum, you want all your players above a 1.0 KD. And from looking at the stats, it seems like Xploidz is doing his job so far.
It seems as if he is. He's going to have to do his job tonight. RushieZ is no easy task, as we already know. Granted, VQ was able to take them out, but still it's RushieZ, and you have to command respect for this very roster with the legends that they do have on board. Let's talk about our pick and ban, see what maps we're running with. I haven't seen them as of yet, but it's going to be great to see them now. RushieZ picks District. Makes sense. RushieZ was always, or I should go all the way back to Reciprocity, and even Quarantine, they were always such a fantastic District team, and I'm specifically talking about FraNChiS, RushieZ, and Icy, right? The core three that transferred from Reciprocity to Quarantine, and now, of course, on RushieZ, joined by Inzem and Avexys. Forge or FNI? And then, of course, Asylum for the tiebreaker. What do you think about that FNI pick on Forge?
I think FNI, they're sticking to their guns. They don't mind having a fast, scrappy map. Forge is a map that the LATAM community has loved playing for years. And Asylum kind of plays out at that same pace. Now, Asylum, we've seen teams who are super talented when it comes down to defensive setups also win that map as well as offense, right? So that's really going to go either way. Now, a few of these maps are geared towards some defensive playstyles and some offensive ones. Now, the first two in our cycle, I think map number 1, District, is super good for RushieZ Nation. It fits that. We've always known RushieZ Nation to the best example, which may be kind of dated here in our community, is they were the Insanes. They're like the Insanes of our community, and UIU is like the Infinity, right? What made the Insanes so great? Their crossfire, their teamwork, playing textbook gears. That's what RushieZ does. They make sure that step 1, they win initial, they control the neutral. If they can get more, they know to take it, but they also are completely comfortable with letting you make a second attempt at that hill and them using their teamwork to win the next battle and then progress on and win the round. Now, on the flip end, Fire and Ice, man, they'll turn up the heat and they'll get really, really scrappy with you and try not to allow you any time to set up. That's why I think Forge is going to be geared more towards an offensive team. But we cannot forget about all the offensive power that RushieZ Nation has. They're going to put up a great fight on that map, and I'm excited for this one to break down.
100%. Well, you know what? Now comes my favorite moment where we have the chance to put ourselves out there and be embarrassed. Let's go ahead and do our predictions, Blaze. We've already been wrong tonight, but we've been right
well,
too.
Well, guess what,
so,
though?
Hey,
Taylor, we ride together, we die together because, so far tonight, all of our predictions have been the same. And we are currently 2-1. Okay, to put that one out there. Now, let's see if we can go 3-1 for the day. My prediction to kick this one off is going to be for Rise Nation. That's who I predicted.
Okay.
There we
Okay,
go.
and-
I wasn't sure if the graphics guy can put the center one up first. I was going to let you go first. No,
Please, wild, man.
no production joke on that one. But yeah, Rise Nation, I think that they got what it takes to come out here, beat FraNChiS. Just like I said with UYU beforehand, that Rise does not want to go 0-2 to start off week number 1. It's just unacceptable for them. So I'm picking them to win a series.
Well, I'm going with Rise as well. I think it's no surprise. I think Rise is just going to be the better team in this instance, and I have a lot to back that up. Latam, see, don't get too mad at me just yet. But let's see, what do they think, right? What is chat thinking about the victor tonight? And with it being primarily Latam, it wouldn't surprise me if it's FNI. So go ahead and pull that up, because if they picked Rise, I'm actually going to be very surprised that they did pick Rise. That surprises me.
Interesting.
Because the Latam seed pulls up big, and it doesn't matter who they're playing against or how favored they are. They typically go with the Latam team, but in this instance, they're choosing North America.
That impressed me. I didn't think you guys were going to pick that, chat. So it shows me that our chat isn't fully biased towards LATAM teams, and they're going to make educated decisions, as the chat is the smartest people on this broadcast. Okay, so they say Rise, we'll see.
100%, man. They are the smartest people, and they did surprise us. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of things, Blaze, and why I think Rise is going to win this. Now, talking about emergence days, I'll be straight up with you. I've not been impressed by FNI. They've been getting first rounded more so than ever. They played in 4 total weeks. They've been first rounded in 3 of those weeks, albeit only week number 1 where they ended up going into semifinals. Now, in total map count, they have a 28% win percentage, and it's a rate of 4 out of 10 maps. So they've got 4 wins and then 10 losses. Now, if you look at the side of Rise, granted, honestly, Rise has not been impressive either. Rise, I don't know, something seems up with them, much like that, of UIU, but Rise has kind of fell off a little bit. I want to see a lot more from them, because I expect a lot from this roster with how they've been performing in the past. But for them, though, they in fact have a much better win percentage, but they're still below. It would be a failing grade if you were in school. They're at 66.67%. They have 8 wins and then 9 losses. So with that being said, you have to favor Rise in that instance, but Fire and Ice, I mean, they are falling behind.
Yeah. Okay. So now, when it comes down to it, you're absolutely right there, Taylor. It's not a good percentage for them, but that's preseason, and when it comes down to preseason stats, I try to hold them sometimes with a grain of salt, because of how much weight the Pro League holds and how motivated all these teams get when they get into matches just like these. Sure. Now, this is where you can turn around. This is where you can say, yeah, those were our E-Day stats. Those are the stats that you guys have from the finals, but this is the progress in which I've made today up until this point, which these teams have been preparing for. Let's see what they're truly about, and let's see if they can prove those stats wrong and show that today is what matters, and today they were ready to show up.
It is true. This is day 2, which means there was a day 1, and in day 1, Fire and Ice did match up against Apricity. They beat them 2-0. Now, it is Apricity, a team that is newly into the Pro League, younger roster. But they did give a great fight against VQ. Let's not forget they took a map off of them, and that is an impressive feat, because there are very few teams, honestly, a handful of teams that have been able to take a map off of VQ, let alone beat them in a series. That just very rarely happens. Now, the impressive thing about FNI, now I can always say the negatives, but I got to bring in the positives too. FNI versus Apricity, from what I'm hearing, they were averaging around 69 kills across all 5 members. So all 5 members were averaging, in collectively in a total 69 kills. That's impressive. That's a lot of slaying power from this FNI roster.
Was that out of 3 maps or just 2 maps? Because that is
maps.
A lot.
It was a 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0. that is a lot of slaying power. So average 69 kills per map with all of them together. That's very good for them guys, and it just shows that they had control of that series. Now, if it was super dominant, they wouldn't get that many kills, because if it was multiple eliminations and trip cap dominations and it was a quick 5-0, you don't get all of those kills. But I'm curious to see how many kills Apricity had. If that was Fire and Ice's average, is Apricity about 5-10 kills short of that one? It just shows that it was a scrappy series, even though it was a 2-0.
But see, this is the thing. If it was a scrappy series versus Apricity, what makes you think that they're going to have a chance versus RushieZ. I mean, I'm just going to be real with you. Normally I'm at tiptoe walking eggshells. I'm going to be the polarizing figure this pro league, though. Okay, I'm going to come in with the fire. I think RushieZ is going to have a better chance here. But like I said, RushieZ just hasn't looked like the RushieZ that I'm used to seeing. I mean, bottom line, period. They have not been looking good as of recently. First rounded, much like UYU and PK were in the last week of Emergence Days. Who beat them, by the way? Let me go back and take a look as to who knocked them out round number 1, and that was actually Noble. So I guess it does make sense given the fact that Noble did, in fact, almost beat UYU. But it was 2-1 and went to game number 3.
All I care about is how you show up on game day. It's 101 reasons. Yeah, it's 101 reasons and why things can go wrong, of why you don't hit the shot, why you don't make the rotation. And with all this being online, you get more reasons, of things that can happen. But at the end of the day, this just comes down to who was ready to hit their shots when the match started, right? Who was the better team on game day? Now, regardless of whatever struggles any of these teams have been having, hopefully at this professional level, they have done the best that they can to prepare for these situations and to come out and give it their best for matches like these. This is what it all comes down to. And these matches are showing us how well you prepared up until this point.
100%. Blaze, I'd love that I try to bring in the stats and bring in that storyline. You're like, you know what? Hey, all that to the side, though. It's about how you show up today. And it's like,
and those are great stats, and I love them. But it is. You did build up the story, though, Taylor. You did. And this is RushieZ's match. This is the one that they should come out on top and win it. But both these squads have had struggles, right? Now, when you look at those stats and you build up that story, it leans in favor of RushieZ coming out on top here. It leans in their favor for them to come out and show why they're the second best team in North America against Fire and Ice. But now one thing that I've seen a lot when it comes down to LATAM teams is, for some reason, when people count them out and their backs against the wall, they get pissed and they fight everything and they win about 85% of these fights.
Yes, they do.
And sometimes, you try to find some logic for it, but the simplest logic is that they are very skillful. And when the pressure is on, they get a little bit more focused and more composed playing from behind. And so, Fire and Ice, they're the underdogs in this series, and it could be a saving grace for them, honestly, with RushieZ having the pressure on their shoulders that they got to come out on top and win the series. We all predict RushieZ to come out on top and win this one. And unless Fire and Ice really has a change in performance from what we saw in E-Days, it's going to go that way.
Well, let me say this. I know we said we were proud of chat going with logic, right, and choosing RushieZ. Hunter, one of our staff members over there at UMG for production, ended up saying 53% of chat voted for RushieZ. So it actually came down to a 172 to 153 split. So by no means did RushieZ dominate that, despite them winning it. There's still a large majority of you out there that
they got a lot of fans in LATAM, is what that tells me too, as well.
And we know they pull up big. We know they pull up big.
They love them some FraNChiS over there, as he has won multiple championships in that venue. Now, to kick this one off, we got Fire and Ice. They're going to open this one up with a triple kill. And now they're on top of the home hill for RushieZ. RushieZ is going to get taken out, but nobody capped the home hill of Fire and Ice. But they do got player 1 coming off respawn, and his teammates is in position to lock in RushieZ's home hill. We'll see if they can get there in time.
And this is rough. Fire and Ice off to a great start. There we go. Okay, that's a fantastic start. 49 seconds. Now, traditionally, RushieZ, though, they start off a bit sluggishly. Okay, that's just like their play style. I don't know what it is. It's just like VQ likes to lose round number 1. Well, RushieZ likes to start off sluggishly too. But hey, a solid start for F&I. I like that.
I like it too as well. It was a great initial to get the quick triple kill off the start, and off that quick triple kill, it was a textbook rotation to the home. And by them losing one player off the start, he called out, say, "Hey, you guys press forward. I'm capping a home hill." That's what they did. But we'll see if that works twice against this RushieZ Nation team. They are honestly one of the best in the league when it comes down to making adjustments and to what their opponent has thrown out them round after round. So they progressively get better. Let's see how much they can get better here in round number 2.
RushieZ looks to strike first onto B. They're going to get their own home hill, of course. Big benefit is they have 3 players down low, so they can go for that overextension. That's going to be their play. Meanwhile, though, FNI, they've got a big advantage on B. They've got 3 players for 2 for the side of RushieZ. Player 2 might get that hop in. Player 9 is going to try to get the cross. 4 is going to go in. That's going to be Sleeafer to challenge onto FraNChiS, who's now going to be in 1v2 himself. Big clutch situation, but it opens up the door for ChaoZ from FraNChiS to hop onto B and lock that in place. Player 6, though, that's going to be RushieZ. As I said, that overextension as RushieZ stacked 3 down low, managed to go over, and they're going to be taking over Charlie. So a lot of moving pieces here, but the big thing to take away is FNI got the hardest part of the job done, and that was to take over B. And more importantly, they also take 2 members down.
Yeah, they slayed out in juice, and now here comes the pinch on RushieZ. They got to either press forward or turn around and fight this one, but they were not able to get on the same page in time, and they got caught into the trap. So FraNChiS is able to get their home hill back. Now they're threatening RushieZ for their home hill. Now FNI knows that they can play this fight from a distance because the flank is coming through from juice. They're making sure that they clear all lanes on the map. They even wrapped all the way towards B to make sure nobody can get around. And another textbook finish here in the mid round.
All right, FNI, I like this. Great start. Obviously, District is RushieZ's, one of the RushieZ's strongest maps. They're now losing 2-0. So if FNI can keep this up, man, we could have a big surprise on our shoulders. You know, like you said, and you know what? I'm starting to believe it. Stats are great. Preseason is whatever. But now it's all about how you show up to play today. And at least as of right now, it seems like FraNChiS, representing LATAM well, is here to play RushieZ. Has yet to find an answer. But I will say this, Blaze, it's not... There it is. I was about to call it out. RushieZ loves to place that drop shot early if things aren't going their way early on. And that's their panic button.
Yeah, that is their panic button. But one thing that RushieZ is starting getting better at is placing that early in the rounds.
Yeah.
Not wait until they get too far behind. So they're going to go down low, play to their strengths, and they're going to group up FraNChiS. And we highlighted Xploidz before. He's the tip of the spear for FraNChiS, but he's going to get caught up to start. RushieZ gets stunned. FraNChiS, a triple group on top of this block shot. They block the incoming damage, allows Xploidz to get this with no problems, and he's going to send the first one over the top. He's going to place it perfectly to clean up the kill from behind. Even a little bit more splash damage in the back. Inzem was last alive. FraNChiS coming off respawn. And now FraNChiS, they're going to see if they can get this B hill.
I'm starting to believe that stat line of 69 kills across the board. Look at this, man. FNI is just playing like I've never seen them play, at least from this roster. I have not seen FraNChiS play this well pre-season, but now it comes to Pro League, and all of a sudden they turn into animals. RushieZ now has to go big. He's got to get a toucher onto Charlie, and no one's going to do it. FraNChiS takes a quick 3-0 lead. We've only been playing like 3 minutes.
FraNChiS on what I consider one of RushieZ Nation's best map. They are making a statement. Fearzly, 4 kills, 11 assists, 2 deaths. He is getting a piece of everybody on RushieZ Nation. Off this initial, he is being productive. He is leading the troops. And so far, it's been a great start. Now, we'll see what does RushieZ have left under their sleeve to possibly slow down FraNChiS. Now, if I had to choose anything, I'm going to say, man, they need a shot grenade possibly to slow down the drop shot.
Yeah.
Well, with the drop shot being placed last round, it's not going to be this one. And I think that if FraNChiS wins this round, they will probably put that shot grenade in middle to stop that from RushieZ. We'll see who wins it this time around.
FNI, big opportunity to take a 4-0 lead. Good utility. RushieZ backs off. FNI doing a great job soloing out, actually teaming against player 7, but he actually clutches up. That's Inzem, and Cristalize takes it. ChaoZ now fighting for his life, as well as his teammates' life to get away. But the biggest thing, even though ChaoZ drops, he allows Cristalize to get away with that drop.
Yeah, he did, and that was the most important thing. And now Cristalize making a rotation towards his opponent's side of the map. He has to quickly shoot this one and turn around. Oh, he was trying to wait for his opponent to shoot, but RushieZ did a good job holding that shot till he was able to guarantee himself a kill. Now he puts himself in a key position. Luckily for Cristalize, he held 1 drop, so that doesn't go in the hand of RushieZ. But now RushieZ Nation, they got control. They're looking to get this next kill here at Cinema. They shall. Now they're looking to go through their opponent's spawn and apply to some of that same pressure that they've been receiving these previous 3 rounds. to let Fire and Ice know not to get too cocky in map number 1.
It seems RushieZ has finally woke up from their slumber, man. It took a little bit to get here, but the fresh drop shot will be coming up. Not soon, but it is going to be a talking point, and Fire and Ice has been able to get their hands on it ever since. Now, granted, Cristalize didn't get any value from it last round, or at least last time they were fighting for it, but that's okay. Overextension in place, RushieZ knows it's there. They're going to stack up 4 strong to try and keep them at bay. I'm interested in player number 1, though. That's going to be Xploidz, who could, in fact, make a rotation through along with his teammate of Sleeafer, and it looks like that might be the case. RushieZ going to be inside, Utility's out, so RushieZ going to be stunned up. Sleeafer should be able to get an easy pick here. It's one nice spread. No, you gotta capitalize. You gotta get that kill, Sleeafer.
RushieZ stays alive, gets the kill. Shaky thumbs right there, Taylor. He has to. It was a perfect play for his team to win the round, but they wasn't able to do so. But not over yet. Fire and Ice. They charged for it. They wasn't able to decap their opponent's home hill. They went in for the kills first, and it didn't work out for them. So now they're all coming off respawn, and my first initial thought is, drop shot, when does it spawn? Because Fire and Ice, they were in such a good position to get it, but they wanted to play for the win in that moment, but they may have lost too much map control now. Yeah, they did.
FraNChiS with that drop is going to be big, right? He's going to have the ability to stop a push basically by himself. At this point in time, RushieZ is in the driver's seat. Fire and Ice has to get desperate. I look through the list, though, and I do see Sleeafer at 1 out of 4. He's committed. Fearzly is at 2 out of 4. There's a decision. Does he want to get back into the fight? Does he not? The drop shot goes through. That picks up 2, and surely they give it up. But no, actually, Fearzly comes back into the fight. They're committing. Well, obviously, it's round number 4, so they're committing everything. But the point is, I think it's a little bit too late. But Fire and Ice is going to have to make a perfect play here, and it starts with these fights. Fran is going to send one out. He misses, and Fire and Ice gets a break.
Yeah, but it's not a big enough break here, as A-Hill is still locked in. Now, this is still winnable for Fire and Ice because they got RushieZ right where they want, and RushieZ needs to go to B now. They need to break out. They can't sit back. They're not getting any time. Fire and Ice is doing a good job holding off, buying time here. They don't necessarily need to cap this hill, but they can't let RushieZ Nation cap it just like they did because it's going to take time to decap. They cannot allow that to happen once again. ChaoZ, he's just trying to clean up the kill. He gets a little damage in. He waits for his teammates' help, and they get the cleanup. Trip cap domination coming through. 4v2 on top of RushieZ's home hill, and Fire and Ice survive.
Way! Blaze!
It came down to RushieZ did not have their home hill fortified enough. They made a decision to win off 1. It got kind of shaky after Fran kind of missed the initial drop, but they still picked up the kill. Afterwards, one of their players fought a 1v2 by himself, and that allowed for multiple players to rotate towards the home. And at that point, RushieZ said, we need to go to B. We need some heal in this given moment, and they just could not get it. Now, when we think about like the past, some of RushieZ Nation's past losses, you know, them playing too perfect sometimes loses them rounds just like that. Because, you know, they set it up in a way that textbook, like if they play a textbook, they should win with the skill that they got and how they practice, but sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Okay, finally a round would go to the side of RushieZ, getting that cleanup, 5 men down. It took a long time to get to this point, 27 seconds. But they finally get it, at least, well, I don't care who you are, a comeback like that is going to be monumental. It's going to be tough. RushieZ going to have to be flawless. They are.
You know, and if I'm on the side of Fire and Ice, you know, I could shake off that round. It's like, okay, you
100%,
know,
yeah.
You know, they got that one. Cool, no problem. They got a few more to go. And you're also 1 up on a weapon selection as well. Now, you could start trying to build up your incendiary grenades, force RushieZ to build up with you, then utilize your block at the right moment to get a win. But they're going to choose to go for some extra flashbangs on the top side of the map. All right. So their home hill player who's ever playing that side of the map, he wants these. And I think it's going to be, well, it's going to be there for the respawn because number 4 is already going to have a nade in his pocket. So now here towards the main fight. Oh, he got the shot off before he got stunned. Now Xploidz trying to take it over. He brought his teammates time to get the drop. The ChaoZ, he had the opportunity to shoot one. He just missed it. Now, FraNChiS is able to put RushieZ in a trap and trap them off in bandstand, but they was not able to capitalize off that play. RushieZ did a fantastic job surviving a difficult situation.
Fearzly will also fall. RushieZ off to a great start. Drop shot has been neutralized. It's out of the way. One player from RushieZ did try the full send, and that was FraNChiS, right? FraNChiS is always that guy that loves to be behind enemy lines, but more importantly, he's the IGL, so he's gathering that information. So pushing up towards F, no harm, no foul, even though he does lose his life. Now, Inzem does have the drop shot, so I do apologize on that. I thought it was backpacked 100%, and it would have made sense if, I believe it was ChaoZ, if he would have backpacked it in that situation, knowing that he could have went down.
He didn't have
out
no
of the
time.
way, but maybe a bit of a misplay.
Yeah, he didn't have no time. ChaoZ, he took a risky play to shoot the drop and possibly take out a few before he went to a grave or save his life. His drop was just too wide left from his position on this side of the map. It kind of landed on top of the E hill, and he got pushed by two members of RushieZ, and that's why they got the drop. So what can RushieZ do with this drop? Well, they're going to use it in a defensive position because they got a 2-to-1 heal advantage. Now, what RushieZ does in a spot, they're counting numbers, and they're going to get the head count that the push is coming towards their home. The drop shot's going to rotate, but they say, hold the drop. We don't need it just yet. We're getting kills on our own, but now this drop may fly in juice. There you go.
3 down for FNI, make that 4. RushieZ now, they're going to sprint as fast as they can over towards F, and FNI is going to give this up. Yeah, they're not going to respawn back in. And that's going to be 2 rounds in a row, 4-2, and it's based off those initials. But this is the thing, it's a fragile thing, right? If RushieZ loses an initial, then FNI are going to have a tremendous lead. So RushieZ is basing, and that's why the drop shot was placed. Let's not kid ourselves, right? RushieZ wanted these initials to be like the focal point of their gameplay. So if FNI can find a way, just 1 round, that's it, 1 out of the next 3 rounds to shut down an initial from RushieZ, FNI will be in good hands and an opportunity will be there to take the lead. What do we get center line, though? We know it's not going to be Shocks anymore, but Inzem, okay, so it's going to be there. You know there's going to be a 1v1 fight there, so it could provide some impact.
Oh, man, talk about a slap in the face with that weapon placement. Man, so RushieZ is going to have to deal with that smoke on their top side of the map, but at the, they still get to fight for another weapon center line. Now, when it comes down to wanting to focus the fight, that incendiary grenade will help you out a bit here in this situation, because if you win this fight, you should get the incendiary grenade as well. But multiple members of RushieZ have fallen, and that's an elimination domination. FraNChiS, they take map number 1.
And like I said, when you put all your eggs in one basket, your strategy is to place the drop shot down. Typically, it works for RushieZ. But as I said, literally just around before this, or during, just before that round, it's a fragile thing. Because if you lose the initial and you put all your eggs in one basket for that initial play, what do you have after that? FraNChiS has been dominating every aspect of this match other than that initial in a couple rounds for that drop shot. So all FNI needed to do, like I said, was win 1 out of the 3 rounds, win the initial, and they would take the victory, and that's exactly what they did. So that is an impressive victory, and I actually just need to go over here and delete my Excel spreadsheet of stats, because clearly that gave me no added benefit for anybody out there.
It's only going to raise that map win percentage up by like 4%. They're still going to have a failing grade, but it will not tell the tale of the performance in which we just saw there on District out of FraNChiS. Now, another big thing that a lot of these teams was working on over the offseason is composure, being able to close out these leads in series that they might not be favored in, right? This is one of those series here. Now, FraNChiS, they're going into their map pick, a map that they're super comfortable on, and they just had a dominating map win here on District, and they did it off of an aggressive playstyle. Multiple elimination dominations and trip caps here for FraNChiS, and they're going to take that same energy over to Forge.
So this is the thing, man. FNI, preseason, seriously, straight up, they have not been looking good. But this right here, this performance shows that they're right back into it. And I, like I said, when they played against Simplicity, apparently they were dropping 69 average kills across the board, divided amongst all 5 members. And it makes sense. Their initials were fantastic. Their slaying power was great. And that win was tremendous. To take that map pick, to beat RushieZ at their own map is a huge, and not even just a map that they pick, like they're arguably one of the best maps that they play on. I'm impressed. Now we're heading into Forge for FNI's map pick. But this is going to be a devastating loss for RushieZ and RushieZ fans out there in general, because of the fact that, first and foremost, you know, they lost their first match versus Vanquish, which I think they were favored going into that matchup for sure, because during E-Days, RushieZ and Vanquish have met up against each other, and RushieZ was a team that, you know, did beat VQ in a series. And in fact, actually, RushieZ gave VQ their first ever series loss in the preseason, especially during the Pro League qualifiers. You know, after that, they were undefeated, but during E-Days, RushieZ was able to beat them. So the fact that they lose to them is tough. The fact that they were first rounded in E-Days, you know, last Thursday is tough. And now they're going against FNI, and they're already down 1-0. Tough. I don't know what's going on with this roster, but it's tough.
Yeah, it's a difficult start of the season for this Rise Nation team. But if they want to be the best, you know, it's two ways you could do it. You know, one, you could just come out, be completely dominant. You know, stay dominant. We've seen, you know, UIU and Optic kind of show that dominance of just being super consistent. Or you're going to be progressively get better throughout the season, build off these losses. Now, the one thing about Rise Nation is that they got a great coaching staff. So even so, the losses in which they're taking, they should be able to build off these and come back, right? But you got to ask yourself, how much has changed? Because this roster is still the same as it was last season. How much has changed from then until now? You know, we know Fire and Ice and their roster, they've had a few changes, but these rotations that should be happening here on District, that's something that all the players of Rise know, okay? You don't have to go over it 1,000 times. I'm pretty sure they've already done that, if not more. They know exactly what they need to do to win these maps. It just comes down to doing it. So they need to turn up right now and have a great next two maps here on Forge and Asylum.
So this is the thing with Rise, you know, off to a bad start as they are. I don't want to say it. I don't. Well, I'll say it. I guess I'll say it.
Say it.
Roster changes in the future, maybe. I don't know, because this is the thing. How long is Rise going to sit there and get beat down? I don't know.
I don't know who you change out on the roster. You know, to be honest,
I don't either. I don't either. I don't even want to say any names. I don't even want to go down that route. But you know, it's too early to tell. Let me take a step back. I apologize. May have been out of line. But the point is, I want to see Rise do a little bit more, because I expect more from this roster. They've always been a huge talking point, especially the core three of FraNChiS, RushieZ, and Icy. Let's not forget those were the core three that won with Reciprocity. They won San Diego. They won Mexico. They've also had great success as well, you know, moving forward in the Spring Quarter Online Major. You know, second place. They got, of course, they did fairly well. A top four whenever they went over to the season finals. But the point is, I expect a lot from this roster, but something seems off, and I don't know what it is. But this isn't the Rise that I'm accustomed to seeing. But the series isn't over just yet. We do have Forge. FNI picked this map, but let's not forget Forge is a map that these guys, all 5 members of the Rise roster, are very familiar with. So who knows? The possibility is there. But I'm just going to say it straight up. FNI has impressed me wholeheartedly, Blaze. Yeah. And I now favor them. I do.
And you're not out of line, because when it comes down to it, this Rise Nation roster is made to win championships, okay? You know, when you talk about the skill gap in Gears Esports for a while, it's been really 2 teams at the top going back and forth against everybody else out there. Rise has been one of them in A. And when it comes down to teams below them, they expect to get these wins. They expect to come out, make them 2-0. Unless you're the Pittsburgh Knights, unless you're UIU, they want to just destroy you and your entire roster. That's their expectation as being former champions, having former champions all across that roster. So when it does not happen, at some point you got to ask yourself, you know, when do we stop beating a dead horse? When do we make that change so we can have the jump on a major coming up or the next one after that? Now we'll see whenever that happens, but I don't think that anything happens until you know, we get a major round, because when it comes down to the infrastructure of Rise, they're going to get better week after week. They prepare to win champions. You know, it'd be nice for them to come out and win the Pro League and do it in a dominating fashion. They want to do so, but most importantly, they want to win championships. And that's why you can never count the team out, and they're going to get better throughout the season. And they're their scariest when it is a finals.
And that's the thing, you know, and that's why I said maybe I'm out of line. I apologize, because it is only day number 2 of the Pro League. But I mean, you know, I've watched a lot of Gears up until this point, because let's not forget, we've had 5 weeks of emergence days. I get it, it's preseason, but still, I've not seen RushieZ perform well. And that's where that kind of comes from. It's not just tonight, right? I mean, if it's tonight, whatever, you chalk it up, but it's the point that I've just seen a performance that just hasn't replicated the success that I'm used to and accustomed to seeing from RushieZ in the past.
Yeah.
But either way, FraNChiS and co, they're going to find a way to make it happen, right?
Yeah,
like you said,
they will.
They're out in a championship team. But again, I'm going to go back to, we talk a lot about RushieZ. Hey, plays Fire and Ice, man. That's the team.
Look at him. Look at him. Out here, map number 1, super dominant. Now, you know, what can I say about them in that first map victory? That they wolf pack, they played as a unit, they fought their fights. When you think about one of the best wolf pack teams out there, you know, I think about that Astral roster that Fearzly was a part of.
Yes.
You know, he was a part of every kill off those first 4 rounds to get Fire and Ice up into that lead. And then you add ChaoZ into that mix as well. Talk about an aggressive squad, but just how this team knows how to be on fire and play super aggressive, they need to know how to cool out as well, slow it down a bit. And I want to see Fire and Ice really practice having strong defensive setups over their practice time, because I know they can slay out. I know they can wolf pack. All right. Listen, and I wanted, they need to do it again if they want to win the series, because that's the play style in which that can work out in their favor on Forge and Asylum. But after this week, they need to make sure that their defense is just as strong as their offense. Truly be Fire and Ice.
All right, here it is, man. This is the turning point, or maybe it's not. Maybe this is the end of the road, at least for day number 2 for RushieZ. Let's see if they can force a game 3. Well, it starts with this top fight, of course. Yeah, FraNChiS going up top. He'll be joined by Icy. Those are going to be the constant duo that should be seeing fight up top. Meanwhile, though, we're going to have 6 and 0. That's going to be Xploidz as well as Fearzly fighting up top. And this is a long one. Typically, it's already over with.
Yeah, it is. So Fran and Iceman, Xploidz and Fearzly in this 2v2 fight. And Fran's looking to use that right hand, get angles. Him and Icy looking to focus fire that first player out in Fearzly. And they're going to get them both out of that position. And now they're going to make sure that they clear first, but they know that their teammates already got B and C. So what's going on in their heads? Hey, play for the trip cap domination. It's early. Keep playing for map control. Don't be content. Don't set up just yet. We need to win this round and make a statement. That's exactly what they're doing. Inzem having to protect his home hill. Woo! Good job.
That's the play you need to make.
Yo, keeping great spacing there in that engagement, just putting out consistent damage. His teammates had his back, but on the other portions of the map, it's Fire and Ice who are continuing to fight. They lost that engagement at B. Now, do they bring out more respawns to this hill? They got 3 players alive. They got their home hill down pat. This is still a winnable round for them. RushieZ was not able to end it there, but it looked like they should have been able to, right? That's how aggressive they were playing. Them not closing out rounds like that bite them in the behind.
But this is the thing, though. Look at RushieZ's defensive setup. Albeit it is lacking down low, they get 2 players down. That's big. And now players 1 and 4 are going to be able to bully the rest of them, you would think. Anyways, they're going to back up. But player 3 is going to be that flex player. But unfortunately, he's going straight into a couple of players from FNI. So right now, Avexys is going to have a tall task. Now it's a 1v1 going against Cristalize himself. RushieZ is going to be pushing up towards the home hill up FNI. And just an update, Cristalize did win that fight versus Avexys. Granted, though, look at that score line. Look at that score line, right? It still very much so favors the boys of RushieZ. So FNI, they've got a lone jaunt, and it seems as if it's coming to an end.
Great round there by RushieZ. You know, it was a textbook round for him. Okay, now what is that for? What is that for RushieZ? First, they used their numbers. They won the initial. They got map control. They took that pressure and they made sure that they was able to get the 2-to-1 hill set up, protect their home. They did that. Then they put themselves in position and they just got ready for the next team fight that was about to break out. They were counting numbers. They knew exactly where Fire and Ice was grouping up at. And then they made their final execution in that next team fight to end the round. That's the best example of a classic RushieZ Nation initial that we can see there. So let's see what's going to happen in this next one. What you want to say to
in that play, man? Sleeafer and ChaoZ got handled by Inzem. We didn't get to see it in slow motion too.
We
that
saw
was a beautiful play from them. Great movement. Watching Avexys now, going in this mid fight. He's gonna have a couple players up ahead, and he's also getting Lancered up top, so this is something he's gonna have to watch out for. Fran is going to challenge now onto Fearzly, but Avexys can't wait up. RushieZ, a nice kill onto Cristalize. Now it's a 2v1. ChaoZ trying to stand his ground, trying to hold his own. Let's find an angle. See, this is the big thing. RushieZ will take the objective off the start. Fire and Ice now, they're the ones who have to apply that pressure. Player number 1, FraNChiS, doing beautiful work. He finishes off 2 of those players, and you already know Fire and Ice was willing to go for that overextension. He shuts that right down in the triple cap in effect.
Yes, he did. Ha! Rise Nation, 2 rounds in a row. That's exactly what they needed to get some momentum, get back into this one. Rushman, 5 kills, 4 assists, 1 death. He's all over the map. Now, let's see, how does Fire and Ice need to get control back of the series? This weapon selection is going to start the tail of the tail, and that's Rise Nation saying we want to start to build up in our security. On the flip end, Fire and Ice, they're going to put a power weapon down on this map. So one thing that I was expecting here is that Fire and Ice needs to focus the team fight, okay? And they need to focus this fight somewhere in Win Control Tower. This Torque Bow is going to do just that. And hopefully RushieZ and that drift that he has on his controller is not going to mess him up too much in this initial.
This thing, man, you got one of the best Torque Bow players, that's Fearzly, who does get chunky in. RushieZ walked through one of them. He'll get finished off himself. I'm seeing a lot of blue. RushieZ off to a great start. ChaoZ is down. He'll get finished off. Fearzly as well. It seems maybe Xploidz tries to get out. He can't. And that's 4 out of the way. Fearzly's last up. He's the only one trying to hold the RushieZ boys at bay. With that kill, it at least will make RushieZ think twice about pushing up. Player number 2 is going to be the only one. He'll fall back. But this is the thing, man. You know, RushieZ has just had fantastic initials left and right. And one thing that they're doing so well is they're gaining control of that neutral off the rip pretty much uncontested. All or both rounds that we've seen so far, FNI has not even stepped foot on B, at least off that initial start.
Icy was trying to take his 1v1. He wanted his opponent to make the move, but his opponent knew help was coming, so he was actually the defensive player in that fight. And he brought his teammate just enough time for Fire and Ice to get control over control room. But from the Rise Nation side, they had a square up fight initially, but a flank came through, which is going to halt their actions just for now. It's going to force them to back up, make sure that their home is locked in. As we see the rotation coming down towards the lower end of the map. Rise, they got the respawns to use, but the question is, can they get to their home hill in time? Fearzly gets the down his team needed, and he almost didn't the way that he was backpedaling into that hill.
Big answer back for FNI to bring it that much closer to tying it up going into the second half. And despite losing that initial still, they were able to regain control slowly but surely by progressing forward and taking out members of RushieZ one after the other. Impressive stuff from them. And again, we'll see that Torque Bow fight. We'll get up, start building up those utilities. The fact Torque Bow's down obviously blocks it, but we're still going to work our way towards the mark. So we know when it does come to the boys of the LATAM region, they love those Marxists. They absolutely do. But RushieZ is going to be the first one to strike first, so they're going to have that in their hands.
I think that's going to go in the hands of the Iceman to watch over middle. Well, probably not the Iceman, actually. Who's it go? It's going to be Avexys who's going to be able to pick up that marks because the Icy Fran duo up top, they're going to stay strong, but they're going to call in a little extra reinforcements from the Rushman. So the trio together, working in unison, they're going to fall to Fearzly and Xploidz. RushieZ trying to stay alive, but he cannot do so. So that's going to be a quick 3-man wipe for Fire and Ice. Avexys has to put the marks up. He transitions to help, but he can't get there in time. So it's looking like a quick trip cap domination. Fran comes off respawn to get to his home hill in time. But this is about to come down to a very scrappy fight on top of RushieZ's home hill.
Fire and Ice wants to push up. They've got to be careful when doing this, though. If they get counter-wiped here, that's going to be scary. That Torque Bow is going to help, but unfortunately it does miss. He has one more bolt. And luckily for them, Inzem tries to go on that flank, but he does get called out. That's a good connection. Avexys falls FraNChiS as well, so the possibility is there. They just need to take out one more member. That's going to be Icy. He's down, but player 4 snuck through. And that's going to be RushieZ. No, can he even get a touch? Oh, just in time, Blaze.
Just in time, and he got the decap, and he's going to be safe. Finds himself a sweet spot We'll see how long he can stay alive there before he gets pressured. But back at RushieZ's home hill, they still have not fully gotten control of it. And Xploidz, he's doing something about that. Not letting RushieZ get there to A. Buying his team some time to cap up B. But RushieZ, they find an opening. Xploidz steps up, and he got the down his team needed to get this all tied up 2-2.
I'll be honest with you, that start from RushieZ was incredibly promising. FraNChiS has found a way to answer back, and they've been doing so quite convincingly. Obviously, we'll see the marks now onto their side. Maybe, depending on what they decide to do, you would almost think they have to prioritize that marks placement.
They can go Incinerate Grenade if they want to.
They could, but would you rather have the Instant or the Marksa? I think the Marksa for me.
Nah, it has to be a Marksa. I think that is too big of a difference because when it comes down to those secondary weapons, yeah, you get the insta-kill potential with that Incendiary Grenade, but you also can get headshots with that Marksa. So
Sure.
And you're going to be utilizing that in a lot of team fight situations. Forge is a very open map, and so if you can get that Marksa even in Control Tower, hell, if it's there or locking down mid-map, even got angles on Incinerator, it is so useful from afar. And in difficult situations, you want to be even with your opponent. So if they got that, one of the best ways to counter a Marksa is to have a Marksa.
All right, here we go. Big opportunity now for both sides, obviously, to strike first. Lead the way 3-2. Torquo still up ahead. Let's see who's going to be able to take this. It's going to be a big fight. But meanwhile, though, normally RushieZ at this point would have already taken the neutral, but a bit of a different circumstance, obviously, with it being over at Incinerator. But the bodies are now starting to fall. And, you know, I'm trying to find out who's going to have the advantage here. It looked as if it was going to be FNI at first, but RushieZ is doing a great job applying that pressure, pushing these three members back. We still have the battle. It is going on for so long at this point. And finally, it's going to be the boys of FNI taking it. Fren and Inzem last up, and we already know where one's going to be at. That's going to be Inzem. He managed to capture E. Here goes FraNChiS. They're off to the races, and actually, they're going for the triple cap.
But the question is, can they get it? They're in a great position, but they're not going to be on top of RushieZ's home hill. So they're going to first choose to prioritize capping up E. They got button control, so that's not going to get pressed on them. Now you got two members left here of RushieZ to defend this. And here comes FraNChiS. You're here to trip cap domination. Torque Bow's revving. Not going to stick with anybody. But Ice, he is going to get one kill, but that one kill is not enough, Taylor. FraNChiS, they're going to close out this round and wipe out RushieZ Nation. That's going to be 2 in a row. Now, to back up, talk a little bit about the initial. RushieZ got off to a good start. They even rotated a player up top to help them out. At some point during it, Fearzly kind of even felt like he wanted to get out of there. But then he turned around quickly. He saw he had teammates coming to help him. He was like, all right, I'm going to hold my position. He gets back to the top control tower. He holds his right hand, and he gets 2 downs to with his team to win that and ultimately put themselves in a great position to win the map. So several different initials in control tower that has went the way of FraNChiS, and it's all because of that Torquo going down. Something about power weapons, man. Players play a little bit harder when their favorite power weapon is on the map for them to play for.
Oh, 100%, you already know. And at this point in time, that's Torquo. You can't ignore it. I thought we were going to send... We might actually see 4 go up top for FNI. Player 4 is going to dip back for RushieZ to go ahead and capture the home hill. So it is going to be a 2v1. Player 2 is going to be down low. It's going to be Inzem trying to capture onto E. He's going to be in a battle versus 7. Meanwhile, though, up top is going to be RushieZ, and they are slaying out, and I like this push from them. They successfully pusher and pressure out player number 9. That was ChaoZ. So that's going to be a solid win from them. FraNChiS is going to pick up the Torquo. ChaoZ is now on the flank. So at this point in time, Avexys has to be careful about hitting some weird shots, but hey, at the end of the day, ChaoZ will fall.
Yeah.
So a very successful
That's a hard angle
start
off
for
the
the
left.
boys on RushieZ.
That's a hard angle off his left hand. He got to work on those back A's a little bit, because that's how you take out that player in that corner. But the rotation from FraNChiS out of their spawn, up top control, they will be able to clean out the RushieZ Station players and get control room. But RushieZ, they already got to set up down low with Incinerator control in their home hill, but they need to buy themselves enough time for their teammates to come off respawn. And it looks like they did so to stop the push at the home hill, but they had to give up a little bit of pressure at the Incinerator, and now RushieZ is going to have to work towards getting that back. But as we see on our screens, Fire and Ice doing a great job defending it, and now they want a little bit more, and they're trying to get the series point.
Yeah, he's not going to get a touch. Man, Blaze. Fire and Ice now leads 4-2. It was such a strong start for RushieZ, man. They started off so hot, but now Fire and Ice. 4 rounds in a row, and now a match point, series point. Blaze, you've been watching a long time, RushieZ. What do they do differently? What is their play to turn the odds back in their favor?
Well, step number 1 is that they have to win this initial, and on this round, they're going to have to win it off their left hand, which is going to be a little bit more difficult. Because if they cannot win that fight, then they're giving up this torque, they're giving up a lot of map control. So you're looking at your core 3. You're looking at RushieZ, Icy, and FraNChiS to win you that matchup. And if they can do that, the original RushieZ Nation duo of Avexys and Inzem have to hold off these pushes in those lower 2 lanes on the map. So we'll see if the duo and the trios can win their respective battles.
Here comes the break. Battle up top. Of course, we know where this is going to happen. FraNChiS goes for that early poke. Unfortunately, he's forced to back off. Fearzly getting some peppered shots into Fran. And now goes up once again. Fearzly now is going to try and angle him out. The bait and switch from Fran and Icy is there. One player coming out from the side. That's going to be Icy. He's going to manage to drop down Xploidz, but Xploidz won't get finished off. RushieZ now gone. Inzem's going to be on to Inzem. It looks like he goes for that trade. Still, the battle is going to continue to ensue. Button's going to be pressed. Player 7 was tempting and trying to get it. Fran is going to be full spread. Wow. He goes down. Oh, no, and that's going to be FNI winning that battle up top. You already know they're going to extend their way over towards that, but player 3 of Avexys is going to be there to try and stop him.
Fearzly plays that position so well. He doesn't get too aggressive with his right-hand advantage. He plays it back just a bit. His teammate sticks close to him. And even if they get it down, nobody from RushieZ can push up and get the kill safely. They can't do it on his right hand. They can't do it low because somebody has a Lancer. And Fire and Ice is just getting a torque bow every single rip Taylor. And it's hard to fight against it. But the initial is over, and RushieZ is going to have to make some 200 IQ plays to get back map control and to dodge these torque bows that Fearzly is going to have up top in control tower. The button's about to come up as well. That's going to buy Fire and Ice some points. So they're going to have to deal, RushieZ has to deal with Fearzly now and not later.
Said Fearzly, one of the most torque bow players in the game. Unfortunately, will miss onto Inzem. I think all shots are done. He's got his shotty. He knows he needs to get back into that fight. Drops her down. Avexys goes for the pickup. Not going to happen. And shut down. That's 2 down once again. Meanwhile, though, RushieZ has managed to take over the neutral. Player 1 was threatening to go for the overextension. That was Fran. He now doubles back to go up top and try and fight. But now he's found himself in a 1v2. Utility out, not going to matter. He's going to get dropped off and finished. Now Fire and Ice is going to be slowly progressing over towards E3 strong. And it looks as if RushieZ is going to have a tough time to try and shut them down.
They are making a great effort right now with that double kill. They got the Incinerary on top of the Fire and Ice members, but it's a little bit short. It may even hurt RushieZ just a little bit more than it did Fire and Ice. Fearzly is going to get another kill. And now this Incinerator control may shift over, but number 3 is Avexys. He has control over that button. He stops the capture for now. Gives his team a few more points and maybe the possibility to stop the decap at E. Fran's going to have to make some big plays with this Marksa.
He knows he's got to be aggressive here. Avexys is going to take that fresh torque bow. Right now, Fire and Ice does have that win condition. It's going to be a battle for E. Whoever gets E next is going to be able to take over that point lead or maintain it if you're Fire and Ice. So this next battle is literally going to mean Fire and Ice is going to take the win, and they're going to beat out RushieZ, or RushieZ is going to stay alive in this tournament. Either way, though, E is going to be locked in for FNI. 10 seconds, they get the victory. The hill is getting broken, but D has also been decapped. 7's moving over there, but Fearzly wins his fight. 2:40 and counting, 10 more seconds. RushieZ needs to get in there, but that is going to be it. That is GG. The love is being shown, and Fire and Ice will beat RushieZ in day number 2 of Split 1 of Gears Pro League, 2-0 in a huge upset.
Man, 4 straight rounds in map number 1 and 5 straight rounds in map number 2. Fire and Ice lets RushieZ know exactly how they feel. What a series, man. What a series.
And Fearzly, 21-16, 5 deaths, by the way.
21-16, like his performance
deaths.
Up top control tower was a masterclass on how to play that, especially off your right hand. Now, typically, players who have that right hand advantage, they want to they want to, use the advantage, right? They want to go for it, get
Sure.
those kills for their team. They feel like it's on their shoulders, but Fearzly knew that if I could just slow it down a bit, make them a little bit impatient, they're going to have to push me. And if they don't push me, they're going to push my teammate with his lance route towards the low side. And as his teammates was getting down next to him, they were close enough for those revives to come through. Now, as RushieZ, they got those downs. It was hard for them to get those kills because if any of those players across from Fearzly pulls out a Lancer, that's when he's like, okay, I can use my right hand advantage and I could, go for this wrap shot up here as I try to, pick you off as you're taking time switching between weapons. So they put RushieZ in a difficult spot in some of those fights. But in the end, it was FraNChiS who made the better adjustments round after round to close out that map and get this 2-0 victory.
And if I'm not mistaken, that was 5 rounds in a row.
Yes, it was.
That they were able to take. Overall series score, map count-wise, 10-4. FraNChiS handled their business. Inzem, though, this is still an impressive play regardless, man. I mean, he was able to down them twice. They got back up, and he still was able to chunk them in the end. Phenomenal work. Ran, obviously, off that flank, being that flex player coming in, making some moves happen. But that was only round 1 and round 2. After that point, FraNChiS did not turn around. They kept going forward. That top fight was dominated. Fearzly popped off. He had an amazing game. And I'm really starting to believe, that Apricity scoreline of 69 kills across all 5 members. I mean, when you have Fearzly dropping like, almost a 30 bomb, that's impressive, especially when you think there was only 7 rounds. So impressive stuff from him. And again, any play you look at, again, right there, Fearzly. He's already back on your screen. He's the player to watch. He just played so well. I've been very, very impressed from FNI because, like I said, coming into this plays, FNI was not the favorite in my book because they had not been playing well. They just had not shown me that they were ready for the Gears Pro League. But very clearly, it seems as if they're proving me, at least me, wrong. I think chat, they were very split on it. The LATAM scene was backing them up regardless, but for FraNChiS to take that victory, that's amazing.
Taylor, last season is last season. The preseason is the preseason. What matters is now, and FraNChiS showed up to play today, and they get the victory. It was a great performance out of them. They played together as a unit. They got the objectives in which they needed, and they closed out this series in a dominant fashion. They should be very proud of themselves taking this momentum over to week 2.
Man, I'm impressed. I really am. Congratulations over towards FNI to take that victory. RushieZ, though, I don't know. Blaze, come on, give me something. What do they need to do differently? How can they improve? Because right now, this is not the performance I know they wanted.
Part of me wants to say that maybe they should be a little bit more aggressive to close out some of these rounds that they win these initials on. But I think that was one of the big problems here is that they lost a lot of these initials against FraNChiS, right? So they kind of start behind. But the rounds in which they do win those initials, it just comes down to them closing it out there, sometimes being a little bit more aggressive, making a statement, because what I'm feeling like a lot of these teams with these aggressive play styles, if they feel like they got another breath of life in some of these rounds that they should lose because, you're being too cautious on their home hill and, you're set up for another team fight, but they get that extra momentum, man, they take it and they run to the hills. They find ways to come back. Okay. If you can end the round, you end it as soon as you can. But that's only a little bit of what I could suggest that they can work on there. They got a great coaching staff who could break down a little bit more of that for them. But ultimately, they got all the pieces to the puzzle. They just need to pick up where they left off last season because not much has changed from then until now outside of, a few roster changes that may work out a little bit better for them and the pistols being gone.
The pistols being gone is a big thing, the Talons and Bulldogs, but to be honest with you, really didn't, have a big impact on the RushieZ, play style. Other rosters, like Toxic, for example, right? Obviously not a roster anymore, but like they love those Talons. Some of the other teams on the come up, Carnage, for example, they love the Talons, they love the Bulldogs, but for RushieZ, it really didn't have that big of an impact.
They're the same team from last season.
Can't speak much, but this is the thing, man. It's a tough break, but it makes me excited to see if they will continue to improve in the future. But let's get into it. Let's look at our results, right? Because I want to see how everything turned out tonight. I want to give a recap to you guys at home. Blaze, break it down for me.
All right, yo, off the start of today, you got Elevate taking out Rebel, a victory that none of us predicted, and Elevate made sure to let us know that we did not predict it. Great win for them. Apricity, they pushed Vanquish to the wire, but Vanquish closed it out at a map number 3. Great series there. Noble against UYU. It was a nail biter, but in the end, UYU are the victors. People's Champ versus Elevate. Elevate, 2-0 for them. They keep it easy. On the flip end, Hive versus the Pittsburgh Knights. That was a great series for us to watch, but Hive, they showed a little bit of fight at the end of that one, Taylor. They looked good, but the Knights, they showed them that they were the better team. And they're picking off exactly where they left off from last season. Carnage Gaming surprising us all once again. They're going to be one of those teams that's 2-1 in our Pro League, if not probably 2-0. Carnage Gaming off to a hot start in week number 1. Be on the lookout for them because they got nothing to lose. And lastly, Fire and Ice, well, they start off hot, 2-0 victory against RushieZ. And RushieZ starting off 0-2 in our Pro League is something that none of us predicted.
No, I mean, none of us predicted. Absolutely not. I mean, I don't even think a lot of people would predict UIU to be, 1-1 as they are. But man, you know what? It's been a good day. A couple takeaways. Like I said, like I've been saying, I'm impressed by Apricity. Really happy they were able to take that map off of VQ. That's one of the toughest teams currently in the Pro League. Absolutely top 4, if not top 3. So without question, for them winning one map speaks volumes about them. Young team, love to see what they're doing. Like I said, Apricity, just picked them up. Regardless, though, it's going to be fun to see how well they're going to continue to do in the future. But as far as tonight goes, it didn't go how I planned it or expected it to be. I'm not going to lie. And I know across the board, all casters, felt the same way. We pretty much were all in line with our predictions. It comes to show you that no matter how much Gears we cast, no matter how much Gears we watch, and, and take stats on whatever, you never know who's going to come out and want it more whenever game time is ready.
You never know who wants to come out and get the lion's share of that prize. And, when it came down to this week, we had some surprises, Taylor, but it was a fantastic week to kick off the league. And I'm excited to see where these teams are going to be standing there in this week as we get ready for the next week.
Hey, next week's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of which, let's pull up our schedule, take a look at that, and see how it's going to be working out. Because I'm not going to lie, we keep the action going for you, and it's always a lot of fun. So next week, starting off with Rebel versus Fire and Ice. It's going to be a fantastic matchup. Rebel, how are they going to recover? Let's not forget, Elevate was able to beat them, and they were the favored team. Going into that matchup, I don't know. I'm going to have to favor Fire and Ice after the performance versus RushieZ. Elevate versus PK, though, going to be a fun one. Elevate showing a lot of promise, but can they go against the top dogs, which is Pittsburgh Knights? RushieZ versus Noble is going to be a lot of fun. RushieZ going to have to step it up, or Noble is going to be able to take them down. And I'm going to favor, honestly, Noble in my predictions going into that one. And, of course, VQ versus Hive. It's going to be another fun one. I expect VQ to take that, but Hive might be able to surprise all of us. But, of course, let's get into it. The standings that we've been wanting to look at.
What a great schedule.
Blaze, how is it looking?
Well, lastly, that was a great schedule for our Tuesday. I'm super excited for it, and that's an exciting setup of matches. Now, as our standings after week number 1 is over, we have Pittsburgh Knights, Fire and Ice, and Carnage Gaming. 3 LATAM teams, 100% map win percentage at the top of the league, followed up by Vanquish, another LATAM team, and Elevate. They are both with 2 victories there, but Elevate being one of 4 teams that played 3 matches this week. They're going to be sitting at 2-1. UIU 1-1 in the 7th position. You go down, you got Noble and Hive down here at 8-9. Apricity 0-2, rising to People's Champ at 0-2 and 0-3. So we talked about it before, right? As we go in week and week out, we have 6 NA teams in the league and 6 LATAM teams. This week, there are 5 LATAM teams in the top 6 and then Vanquish as NA representation.
Yep. And that's impressive. Absolutely impressive. I'm proud of Carnage being up 2-0. That's that young gun roster. It's the young guns going against, some of the veterans in this scene, and they're performing so well. Dyslexic, huge fan of him. Young guy, but you know what? He's got a lot of talent, a lot of veneer. Can't wait to see how
Their
well he's
story
going to do
making the
in the
league was
future.
awesome going
It's
through the
impressive,
LQQ.
Blaze.
It was a very awesome storyline for this squad. They fought again and again. They just kept losing, but they got in at the last possible minute. And we see how they get to stack up against the rest of the competition. And I would like to say, I think that the journey that they went through to get here is a big part of why they can kind of stay composed in a lot of these pro league matches. They've been in some pressure situations, and through going through those pressure situations, they've built a lot of chemistry and teamwork on that squad. So I can't wait to see them next week.
Yeah, we talked about it, right? Especially when we're casting over that Carnage roster. They're going to have to learn composure. They're going to have to learn when their back is against the wall, the pressure is on, not to blow that lead and just close it out. And I think they're adjusting very well. And for me, looking, outside looking in, I'm thinking to myself, those Pro League qualifiers absolutely made that team a much better team. The fact that they got those reps in, it's an invaluable experience, and it's proving very well. But Blaze, all good things must come to an end. What's your final words, man? I think it was a good day.
My final words is it was a great day of Gears Pro League action. Shout out to everybody who tuned in and enjoyed the show with us. And I'm excited for next week. LATAM, man, they have struck first in the battle between NA and LATAM in this Pro League, and they are sitting on top with 3 teams there in the top 3 spots. And hey, NA, you guys got to step it up going into next week and really went out as me just being NA biased in this current moment. It was a fun week, and I'm excited to see the rest of these matches. Tuesday is gonna be a crazy one.
Absolutely. It's been a fun time, whether it was yesterday with Colin and Jacob, and of course today with ourselves. We really enjoyed it, but like I said, all good things come to an end. Today is done. The first week of the Gears Pro League is finally in the books, and hopefully you guys have a good understanding as to who's on top and who needs to improve, if you will. But for myself, Taylor Reflections, Noble, Guy Blaze, our production team, and you guys out there, make sure you hit that follow button because we keep the Gears action going. Tomorrow's going to be Emergence Days. Hope to see you guys then. But hey, check it out. Loved having you. I'll see you later.